Judy and John are partners in business and love.
He always referred to her as his beautiful wife, Judy.
They were a team. When it came to the business, they were a team.
But not everyone is playing for the same side.
Stop it. Stop it right now.
It was like she got her golden ticket and everyone else was trash.
My dad had told all 4 of us kids, if you want to keep up the life that you live,
you keep your mouth shut.
And in this conspiracy of lies, murder is a family affair.
Some people are sick and do the things that they do. And some people are driven to do the things they do.
Love may be blind and marriage bliss, but divorce is murder. Northwest Indiana, a notch in America's Rust Belt. In 1989, some industries here are thriving, and some entrepreneurs are reaping the rewards. John Parker is well on his way to becoming a millionaire.
My brother graduated high school, and his first job was as a busboy. But one day he just got mad and quit. And I always, like, what are you gonna do now?
Hi. Do you want to see the best vacuum cleaner that money can buy?
And I laughed at him. I made fun of him. But he proved us all wrong because he was like the #1 salesman within the first year.
Be honest with yourself. If your ambition meter isn't at least a 7 or above, don't come back tomorrow. What I'm trying
He worked a 12 to 16-hour day. I've never seen anybody so dedicated to what he did. He went from nothing to uber successful overnight, it seemed.
Everything you need to change your lives forever is right here. Right here in this room. Every single front door that you're going to approach is a new opportunity.
John believes in his vacuums and inspires others to do the same.
I trust in all of you.
Actually, I was working at McDonald's in their drive-through window, and John came through the drive-through, and he said, "You look unhappy here." And I said, "I am." And he gave me his business card, and he said, "I own a business around the corner. Why don't you come and check me out?" He inspired me to want to do better, to want to do better at my job.
I want you to go out there and I want you to trust in yourselves. You know why? Because I trust you and I trust you.
It was like a pep rally every morning. I mean, everyone was excited, and there was more energy in a 9 o'clock morning meeting than you'd see at a Super Bowl game. I mean, it was crazy.
Make the sale. Yes. Woo! All right.
It was fun. John made it fun.
John's star is rising when Texas native Judy Hicks walks into his office for the first time, looking for new opportunities in life
John
and
Parker.
maybe in love.
Do you want to see the best vacuum cleaner that money can buy?
Actually, I'm just looking for a job.
Oh. Well, I'm not really looking for anyone right now.
You're gonna want to hire me. I can sell better than anyone in this room.
Okay. Why don't you give me a call?
Unlike John, who lived a middle-class life in Indiana, 20-year-old Judy grew up poor in Texas, one of 3 children. Judy married young and had 2 children with her first husband, Roy. But the marriage falters, and a divorce swiftly follows. To make ends meet as a single mother, she needs a career of her own. John helps her in that regard, first as a mentor, then as a lover.
My brother was crazy about her. To be honest, my brother looked a lot like I do. Add 50 pounds and knock off 8 inches of height. He wasn't exactly Don Juan, let's just put it that way.
He loved her, and it was almost like That was his first love, like that type of love.
The closer they get, the higher they climb.
Her and John seemed to really take off.
I thought that they were equally matched. She was his backbone. They were a power couple.
Okay, guys, here we go. You ready? Welcome to J&J.
In Michigan, they start a training center for other salespeople, schooling them in John's unique methods of persuasion.
He named it J&J for John and Judy Parker.
John and Judy marry in late 1992 in St. Joseph, Michigan.
Everything was fine. The wedding went great. John seemed like a really nice guy.
The marriage cements an increasingly dynamic partnership.
We were the top office, the highest producing office in the Midwest. And the first thing he would always do in every single speech that he would give in front of thousands of people, he'd call up his wife and say, I couldn't have done it without this, my beautiful wife, Judy.
First of all, I thank my partner, my wife, Judy.
My beautiful wife, Judy. He always referred to her as his beautiful wife, Judy.
Somehow, they find time to have 2 more kids to add to their growing family. Judy's kids, Christina and Daniel, are joined by half-sister Tiffany and then baby Erica.
It was just like a real family business because the whole family was there. It was pretty cool, but the kids were basically growing up a lot of times in the office. Christina was like my little sister, man. I really looked out for that girl. She was the sweetest little, the little perfect angel kid. Daniel was hyper. It was like the second day I was there. Grabbed this balloon and he punched me in the nuts. Like, what's wrong with this kid? He was just angry or something,
Hey, come on, guys.
As business booms and the family grows, the Parkers enjoy their newfound success and wealth.
We need to go.
He had lived in several really luxurious homes, and he had $1,000 suits and the whole 9 yards. He had the nicest toys any man could have.
They went, Australia, Europe, Mexico. My parents literally went on probably about 4 vacations a year.
His philosophy was to exude success, to try to motivate the people that worked for him to be successful as well.
After years away, Judy finally brings John and the kids back to meet her family in Texas.
First time I had seen my sister since she was 16.
You look great.
It was real emotional.
So great to see you.
It was really nice because that was the first time I met John.
Hi. John Parker. How are you? Pleasure.
John was showing off his Rolex watch.
You like the watch?
Which was really cool. I guess if I had a Rolex watch, I'd be showing it off too,
Psychotherapist Stacy Kaiser and forensic psychologist Brian Russell have concerns about a relationship that puts image over substance.
As a business team, John and Judy are a great pair. They're both dynamic, they're driven. I think Judy was looking for someone to take care of her and her kids. And she's found a guy who is driven, he has money, and he appears to care about her children, so that's a perfect package for her. And John, on the other hand, is looking to have a family and sort of have that image of the perfect family man and businessman, and Judy does complete that puzzle for him.
I think wealth and material things are a very weak glue for long-term romantic relationship success. If the wealth is a byproduct of some kind of a shared interest or shared passion between 2 people, then I think the passion can be a good glue. But it's hard to imagine people being seriously passionate about vacuum cleaner sales for any reason other than the material things that it was bringing.
It's obvious Judy has come a long way from where she grew up.
They had took the kids to Midfield, Texas to go try to look at the house that we had lived in when Judy had left.
This is it. This is where I grew up.
I was glad to see that one of us finally got something other than heartache and pain, I was proud, I was happy. She finally got something better than what she had got in her youth.
But is this a walk down memory lane or a warning of why it's important to keep up appearances at any cost.
If you want to keep up what you have and all these nice things, you'll shut your mouth.
In 9 years of marriage, John and Judy Parker have made millions, and they possess all the trappings of success. A thriving business selling vacuums, a beautiful home, and 4 healthy children.
John put everything into those kids. You could not tell that Christina and Daniel were the stepkids and Tiffany and Erica were the biological children. You just couldn't tell that.
They called my dad Dad. We were a family. If you looked at it from the outside, you would think my brother and my sister were my dad's kids.
From the outside, they're the picture-perfect Kirby vacuum family. But that isn't exactly the reality.
I mean, are you in control here at all?
Am I in control?
Yes.
The reason you have to put on a show as a Kirby kid is because your parents put on the show. Like, look, wow, I have this and this and this. This is what my kids dress as. You can do this too. It's all an image. And behind closed doors is something totally different.
When Judy visits her brother in Texas, she confesses that the marriage is going through tough times.
We're having some problems. They just don't get along with John.
Sorry to hear that.
Judy and John were going through some difficulties in their marriage.
Judy claims John is mistreating her 2 oldest kids.
Get up here. Come on. I want you two to clean this mess up like I asked you to do before.
I know Christina and Daniel were being treated a lot different because of him not being the father.
Why can't she help?
Yeah, this isn't fair. Shut your mouths and do what I'm telling you.
He was being a lot harder on the 2 oldest kids than what he was being on the 2 youngest.
Do you understand?
We were raised strict ourselves. When you lay down the law, you lay down the law.
But it's not clear whether John's behavior is caused by favoritism or because the kids are acting up.
Christina, as she got older and she started hanging with certain friends, she started experiencing with different things, drinking and, everything. And you can tell, things were changing.
We're just having a little party.
I don't know where that switch happened with her, where she went from being the sweet little angel girl to the little troublemaker.
Christina's little brother Daniel is 13 years old, but just as much in the throes of teenage angst.
Get off my frickin' back! Don't you have anything better to do than hassle us for nothing?
Yeah, Daniel had a dark side to him. He was an angry kid, He'd get in trouble a lot.
Probably the #1 reason why second marriages where there are kids coming into the marriage don't work out is disciplinary differences with respect to the kids. I like tough love, but I do think it underscores the fact that there clearly must be a massive difference between these 2 parents in terms of their views on what the expectations of the kids in the house ought to be.
One of the reasons that the kids are acting out so much is because they haven't been properly parented. Focus has been too much on the business and not on the family. This cannot be an easy situation for John because he's used to being successful. He's used to being the king and on top and sort of having it all at his fingertips, and things are falling through the cracks. And so it makes me wonder, what is he going to do to try and gain some leverage again and feel like less of a failure?
John takes extreme measures to reassert his authority.
Really? How many times? Okay. Thank you for calling. I'll deal with it. Thank you.
One time in particular, a teacher called about Daniel really misbehaving in school, and he punched Daniel.
That was Mr. Harris on the phone for the 5th time. This is funny. Good. You shut your mouth, or I will give you something to cry about.
I'd seen John get angry and lash out at the oldest son when he didn't do something he was supposed to.
It was his way or the highway. You did it right, or you seen the consequences.
The stricter John gets, the more Judy rushes to the defense of her children.
Judy became like Christina's girlfriend, you know? She was more like Christina's friend instead of mother.
Leaving John the odd man out.
You want to go to the mall?
Sure.
But there's a reason John's been so agitated lately. He suspects something fishy is going on with his wife and another employee. Nobody is totally sure how he finds out, but everyone hears the same rumor.
It's this really...
My mom had cheated on my dad with somebody that worked in the office.
And I like to go down the weekends just... Why?
Apparently he had put some kind of surveillance cameras in the office building and caught Judy having an affair with one of the workers. Neither one of them were dressed.
At this stage, I think that the relationship is truly a mess. It looks like the business may suffer and the family may suffer because of it. I was a little surprised to hear that Judy would have an affair on John, particularly with someone in the workplace, because that's the place where things have been going well. And so it would surprise me that she would risk sabotaging things.
Once the affair happened, or one night stand, whatever it was, everything changed.
I saw you. On the security camera, I saw you.
What are you talking about?
Are you really gonna make me say it out loud?
John had a big ego, and this was the ultimate blow to that ego.
Make me say. I'm sorry. Do you not have anything else to do? Maybe you could go do some work!
It was really tense towards the end, really tense. He yelled at everyone. Nobody was exempt from John's yelling. The kids, the employees, customers, it didn't matter.
So my dad started drinking really, really heavily.
Oh.
My dad came home.
Yeah, it's me.
Drunk, and my teacher had called because I had forgot to turn a book report in.
I'll take care of it. Thank you for calling. Really? Third time! Come here, you! Come here!
My dad pulled me out of the kitchen table chair while we were eating dinner, threw me on the ground, took off his belt, and beat the shit out of me.
Stop it! Stop it right now!
I went to school the next day, and the teacher seen the bruises and contacted Children Protective Services. On our car ride over to CPS, my dad had told all 4 of us kids, if you want to keep up the life that you live, you will lie. You will not tell the truth of what happened.
If you guys want to keep all of your nice toys, you keep your mouths shut.
My dad made me tell them that my brother was the one that hit me. When in reality, it was my dad pissed off and took off a belt and beat the shit out of me.
At this point, John seems to be sort of triangulated out of the family in some ways. You've got Christina and Judy moving closer. John, at this point, has adopted some very dysfunctional coping strategies. He's gotten into alcohol. He has allowed his anger to come spilling out at the children. I really am wondering if perhaps John will become violent also towards Judy.
Desperate to save his family and marriage and to get Judy away from her lover, John uproots the entire family and the business.
That was pretty much the main incentive to move everything lock, stock, and barrel back to Indiana.
It was one day in April 2002, and we came to work. The office was quiet, and he came into the room and he said,
"So ladies, this will be your last day. You'd better leave now so that you can file for your unemployment. Thank you."
It was that quick.
We moved right after school got out. New state, new city, new house.
The family settles in the swanky neighborhood of Crown Point. And John leases a building in nearby Merrillville. He incorporates under the name J&J Parker Industries and brings some of his most trusted associates, including his long-standing manager, Jeff Walker.
He had brought him with him from Michigan, and he was training him to run his business so that when he did step back or semi-retire, that he would have his business still thrive.
It's meant to be a fresh start. Judy's lover is out of the picture. But the move doesn't hide the fact that fundamentally, both John and Judy are moving further apart.
Judy got a spark about herself. Her appearance changed drastically. Lost weight, clothes changed, more effort into her appearance.
So it was a big change, and my dad started smoking too.
It was in jeans, and his facial hair was kind of grown out. If he saw me looking like this at work, he'd send me home and say, "Where'd your effing razor go?"
As John becomes increasingly distracted and depressed, the business starts to suffer.
Went to shit. We're about to claim bankruptcy. They had lost all the money. My dad sold the boat, sold the Viper. Everything started falling apart.
He was just defeated. He's always been, the positive one, and it really hurt to see that. I'd never seen him of anybody act the victim.
There'll soon be a real victim of this dysfunctional relationship.
The murder was completely covered up, swept under the rug.
With his marriage falling apart, John Parker moves his family and his business to Indiana. But crossing state lines might not be enough to keep his wife Judy faithful. At the office, rumors swirl like dirt in a vacuum bag that the boss's wife is still seeking some on the side, with John's faithful employee, Jeff Walker.
Everybody kind of knew, sometimes you just stay out of things,
Whether the rumors are true or not, the tension between John and Judy is worse than ever, and Judy decides she wants out.
So I know it's difficult.
My mom had pulled me aside and was like, if me and your dad divorce, who do you want to live with?
You have to choose.
It was hard to decide.
But John isn't ready to let Judy go.
This man took this woman from rags to riches. Really did everything, and put her on the biggest pedestal all the time,
John does what he can to make it difficult for Judy to leave him.
He's controlling the money, controlling the assets. Like, if you leave, you're gonna leave with nothing. And rightfully so, Judy probably felt like, well, I worked just as hard as you have to create what we have. This is as much as mine as yours.
I remember somewhere along the line, the comment that was made was, "It's cheaper to keep her."
Even so, John holds on to the one piece of evidence that proves her infidelity.
I know she said that she had asked for the video tape at that time, and he didn't want to give it to her. I think it was more of me keeping this as a safety net, just in case you want to leave and file for divorce or anything like that. I have video of you being an adulterer, so, you know, it would play more into his favor for a divorce.
Problems in the Parker home are affecting the kids. But now it's not just the older children who are acting up.
Me and my friends had actually lit the school woods on fire. Like a 40 by 40 square of, you know, burnt down trees. Quite a bit of damage.
The fact that Tiffany is now getting into trouble at school just sort of underscores something that we as psychologists know to be true, which is there is almost never a child in a household situation like John's and Judy's that is unscathed.
Typically, children and teenagers act out the problems that are taking place in their family. And so now it's just another person in the family that's being drawn into problems, drawn into trouble. And I don't know if these people have the skills to know how to bring her out of it.
You just can't be in this kind of a state of chaos and be immune to the effects of it.
April 17th, 2003, the last day of school before spring break. But John and Judy's daughter Tiffany is likely to spend this spring break grounded.
Needless to say, my dad wasn't too happy with me at that point in time.
John and Judy discuss their daughter's punishment over dinner out, while the kids are at home watching a movie.
Daniel was up in his room. He was grounded for doing something.
John and Judy call the kids to check in.
Hi, sweetie. We're just gonna pop by the office and pick up your sister's homework, okay? We'll be home soon.
Just talked to Mom. She's gone to get your book report.
You have to understand that was a area what I call a warehouse area. It's south of our city, and it's warehouses that are basically completely closed during the evening hours.
When they arrive at the office, they find Jeff Walker working late as usual.
It was decided that John would give up some carry-out food that was left over from the restaurant. He was going to give it to the manager.
And would you ask him to do everything twice?
I'll be in the car.
She went back out to the car, and John was inside still talking to the manager. John came back out to the parking lot, and he opened the driver's side rear door.
Two shots ring out in the night. One hits the caddy, the other nails John in the back of the head.
He was gunned down right there on the spot.
Police receive 2 911 calls, one from Judy and one from Jeff.
Yeah, I think I heard a gunshot.
I received the page, and I responded to that location to assist other detectives that initially were at the scene. John is on the ground, laying next to the car.
John's wallet is missing.
We considered a possibility of a robbery. However, it didn't appear that robbery, in the classic sense, would have been present. Pockets were not turned out. There was jewelry items on Mr. Parker that were not taken.
John Parker, age 33, is pronounced dead at the scene from a single bullet to the head. With robbery ruled out, there is no obvious reason for the execution.
We started looking at other scenarios, and one of the scenarios we looked at initially would be that he was targeted by either a business associate or co-workers.
If John's murder is a targeted hit, is it a disgruntled employee or something much more sinister?
It was a lot of people that didn't like John.
Self-made millionaire John Parker, 33, is shot execution style by an unknown assailant.
Ma'am, you want to tell me what happened?
I heard the gunshot and then...
Police speak with his wife Judy and manager Jeff Walker at the scene, but neither one of them saw the shooter.
That's all?
After ducking and looking backwards, she saw a figure running to the west.
News of John Parker's death makes it home.
Erica had fallen asleep, and Christina got a phone call. She immediately jumped up, got Daniel. So I sneak into the front sitting room, and I hear my brother and sister crying.
What's going on? What? Tell me.
Where are my mom and dad? Why is my brother and sister crying?
Police drive Judy home, where she breaks the news to her 2 youngest kids.
When we arrived at the scene just to take Judy home, we found a household full of people at 4 o'clock in the morning.
My mom's sitting at the kitchen table, and my sister's with her.
We have to tell you something. You should sit down.
And Erica goes, "When's Daddy coming home?" And my mom started crying and said he's not.
Over the next couple of days, police compile a list of suspects, which includes almost everyone in the family's life.
We literally talked to dozens of people, friends and family, co-workers.
2 days later, at Easter dinner, the mood is somber. But it seems Judy has found a new friend to help ease her pain, Jeff Walker.
We were told that there was an interaction between Judy and the office manager. People described it as almost a relationship, which we thought was unusual.
But what happens next is even more unsettling. 4 days after the shooting, Judy's 15-year-old son Daniel is taken into custody for questioning, alleged to have some type of connection to the murder.
2 Crown Point police officers had been summoned after some teenage gang members acting like big shots, flashing this roll of money.
The teens have an explanation for this cash.
They had been approached by Danny under the pretense of Danny wanted the stepfather killed.
The boys claim Danny paid them to do the deed. The officer, thinking this was far-fetched, wrote up a report and confiscated the money.
I don't know specifically if it was ever followed up on by a detective, other than nothing ever came of it.
Then, 6 months later, John Parker is shot dead. Now, Merrillville police must determine whether the teens in question really are connected to John Parker's murder.
So tell me about your relationship with John.
Danny was brought in to find out whether or not this allegation from the 2 teenagers and the solicitation for killing the stepdad were true.
In the meantime, the rest of the family mourns their loss.
It was amazing how my brother touched so many people's lives. I mean, there was 1,000 people at his funeral.
Judy is a mess. Perhaps because one family member is conspicuously absent.
Daniel was locked up in juvie during they were holding him.
Just as John is being laid to rest, Daniel admits he would have liked to cause him serious harm.
Well, it's no big secret. I didn't get along with the guy. We had major issues.
He ultimately did acknowledge to us that he had approached people, but not to kill John, to just break his legs or to do harm to him.
Police tracked down one of the teams in Las Vegas, but he has an alibi.
We were able to establish that he was not in the area. He was not in Maryville at the time.
They took the money, but that's as far as it went.
But they had no intention of committing a murder. They were just going to steal the money.
After 9 days, Daniel is released without ever being charged.
There just wasn't quite enough corroborating evidence, physical evidence, secondary witness statements.
He's returned to his mother's house, though perhaps not into her care. Judy is spending most nights with her new boyfriend, Jeff.
We were taking care of each other. I would cook dinner every night to make sure everyone ate. We all helped pick it up. Well, me, Daniel, and Erica would clean the house. All 4 of us relied on each other to survive.
A person who has strong emotional attachments with their children would instinctively go to their kids and spend more time around them after a loss happened in the family. And the fact that Judy has done the total opposite says to me that she not only didn't totally attach to John, but she isn't even completely attached to her own kids. She's very self-centered and focused on whatever it is that she's wanting to do.
Judy doesn't show a lot of maternal instinct.
Months go by, and still no one is charged in connection with John's death. Judy and Jeff pack up Tiffany and Erica and move out of state.
Up and left with nothing. Just moved back to Michigan.
Daniel and his biological father move to Arizona. A pregnant Christina stays in Indiana with her boyfriend, Eric.
It drug on to the point where the family of John, they were frustrated, and rightfully so.
We were being strung along by the homicide detectives and by the prosecutor's office, and we had gone down there dozens of times pleading them to do something about it.
Meanwhile, the Merrillville police quietly continue their investigation.
It could have been an easy process of just putting it to the side, or putting it in a file cabinet. I didn't want that. If I just got the right lead, that it could be solved. And I think that's what kept me going.
But when the truth emerges, it reveals the dark heart of a family living a lie.
They were basically just promised a better life.
He was marked the day he married her.
In the months after John Parker is shot and killed outside his office in Indiana, the family has scattered, and his murderer still roams free, until police happen across a long-awaited lead. A tip that leads them to former schoolmates of Christina and Daniel, who, under pressure, admit to police they sold a gun to Christina, a gun that had apparently been used for target practice out on some farmland owned by the family.
They had shot that gun on several occasions out on the family farm. And there was a tree there, and at the tree, it showed markings that there had been gunfire prior to our being there. And we were able to collect some spent casings from the ground of .25 caliber.
The casings provide a crucial link to the crime scene.
They were ballistically matched later to being the same markings as the ones that were at the homicide scene.
Now police can tie Christina to the purchase of the gun. Problem is, she denies everything. And they know she didn't kill John herself because she was home with her sisters watching a movie. So who pulled the trigger? Christina's new husband, Eric, has some light to shed on that.
I was approached by a drug detective who indicated to me that they had made an arrest for drug activity on the husband of Christina.
Once in custody, Eric turns out to be very forthcoming. Perhaps hoping to cut a deal, he names names.
He told us that Danny was the actual shooter.
Daniel Lee Hicks, now 19 years old and living in Arizona, is charged with murder and conspiracy to commit the murder of his stepfather, John Parker.
And at that point in time, right there in the parking lot, he started crying.
Daniel admits to being the gunman. And Christina, now 21, is charged with conspiracy to commit murder.
She admitted to buying the gun, and she admitted to providing the gun to Danny.
While Christina was watching TV with her sisters, Daniel snuck out, did the hit, then snuck back in. But how did he know when his parents would be at the office? He was tipped off.
The whole conspiracy was basically orchestrated through the mother, through Judy.
We're gonna make a stop at the parking lot at J&J. That's where we can do it.
Judy had approached both of the children, and they had talked on several occasions about wanting to get rid of John.
Something police long suspected, but only now are able to connect the dots and pinpoint holes in her story.
Schools are closed on Good Friday in Maryville. And then that weekend is Easter weekend.
Meaning Tiffany's homework wasn't due until the following week, so there was no reason to go by the office that night to pick it up.
So that didn't ring true.
Then there's Judy's claim that she heard the shots and ducked.
The more realistic thing is you hear pop, pop, and you're going to turn and look. You're going to look. You're not going to duck.
With her husband dead, Judy believed she would be set up for life.
We were able to determine that there was a $1 million insurance policy on John, which named Judy as the beneficiary at the event of his death.
As for the kids, their motive was simple.
They were basically just promised a better life, that it would be life without John. It would be life with a lot of money. There would be an insurance rainbow at the end of the tunnel.
Under police pressure, the two siblings finally reveal the truth about what happened that night. Tiffany believes Daniel is in his room.
He was really getting ready to sneak out and initially going, shoot my dad.
As the sisters watch a movie, Daniel lurks in the darkness of the industrial park, laying in wait. He shoots his stepfather in cold blood. Then he flees in his sister's car.
The gun was disposed of, and it was just stonewalling from that point forward of trying to establish a story that wasn't true until ultimately the investigation proved otherwise.
After the kids implicate her in the crime, Judy Parker, now 39, turns herself in. She admits to giving Christina money to buy the gun. She admits to giving Daniel dark clothes and a ski mask to wear the night of the shooting. And she admits to helping the kids dispose of the gun and John's wallet.
I would say that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree usually, and it looks to me like Judy is sort of a classic sociopathic character, and she raised a couple of classic sociopathic characters.
While this family were bonded together in the conspiracy over John's death, they ultimately broke apart.
One saving grace for law enforcement about sociopaths is that when they get together to commit crimes and then law enforcement starts to get onto it, they tend to sort of look out for themselves. Their instincts towards self-preservation tend to trump their loyalty quickly, and so they tend to give each other up pretty fast. I think what people have to understand is that in the United States, once you charge somebody with a crime, it starts a clock running because they have a constitutional right to a speedy trial. And so it probably was good prosecutorial strategy to wait, and it did take a considerable amount of time, but they were ultimately able to put that puzzle together.
In 2009, Judy and her kids all copped to plea bargains. Christina is sentenced to 5 years in prison for assisting a criminal. And Daniel is sentenced to 23 years for conspiracy to commit murder. Judy is sentenced to 33 years in prison, also for conspiracy.
I'm not condoning what my sister did. Judy wasn't a bad person. Some people are sick and do the things that they do, and some people are driven to do the things they do. I wish she would have gone about doing it a lot different.
I think she was just ambitious and evil. Even though they were together for 10 years, I do believe she married him as a mark. He was marked the day he married her.
John didn't deserve to go out like that. And I blame Judy for destroying all of her children's lives. It was like she got her golden ticket and everyone else was trash.
After her release, Christina dies of a drug overdose at the age of 27.
I love them because they're my family, but I hate them for what they have done. Now I've lost my dad and my sister to death, and I've lost my mom and my brother to prison.
I try to focus on the happy memories of my brother, but I can't tell you how bad he's missed.